Hey, Coach Lee here, certified nutritionist, licensed cycling coach. Had an athlete this past weekend rock out the 2025 Florida Polytechnic time trial. And not only did he win his event getting the top step, but he actually, at age 64, had the best time on the day. Let's break down what he did, and there was a lot of great things that come out of this weekend. It's early in the season. This was a C race. He's just down in Florida, rocking it out, getting a few weeks of great sun in. He lives up in Maryland, but just down there, getting a few weeks of great sun in to get some great base miles, training, all that great stuff. And then in the early spring and February, that's when the race season starts to kick off in Florida. And here we go. We had the Swamp Classic, I believe, last weekend, which was a 3-day Omnium. He did really well in that. I think he got second in the road race and second in the time trial. But this, he had all engines firing and he was ready to go. So there he is, standing up there, looking proud, looking happy, just rocking it out. Now, a couple things to remember when we're thinking about the time trial, okay? So that's us. We're on the time trial. As we move through space, right, we've got power that's pushing us, but we got gravity that's pushing us down. We got aerodynamic drag, and we have rolling resistance. The biggest problem, the biggest limiter, the biggest factor slowing us down, especially on a flat course, which this 8-mile TT was, it was essentially flat. The wind, aerodynamic drag, there were 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds, so it was really blowing. And so once he's getting really good at time trials, he's starting to win all up and down the East Coast. He's winning his time category, but he's also starting to really get the best times on the day for whatever race that he's going into. So, his races are 26, 27, 28 continual miles an hour for that entire race. And the faster you want to go, like really when you hit over 25, it just becomes exponentially harder. You need more watts. You need a bigger engine. So everything in terms of reducing your aerodynamic drag is absolutely crucial. That means you have to have a great aero bike, great suit. There's this triangle, right? We want to limit that triangle as much as possible. And he did all the work necessary. He's got the bike, the aero wheels, he's got the great suit, he's got the helmet. But, this last December, he actually got into a wind tunnel. And so him and I, there I am, there he is. We're in a wind tunnel in December, and we're working on bike fit. We're working on cockpit position. And for him, that was the biggest thing that we worked on. We worked on lowering his cockpit and bringing in his bars, right? So we were really brought him in, and it was very uncomfortable position to hold, which means that he has to have time to develop to get into that position. So that's why we did that last December. He has big events coming up, like his A events are in June. And so what we did is we wanted to give him a good 6-month ramp to have plenty of time to really work into that new uncomfortable position where he could drop major watt bombs, but also just be as aero as possible. So, he is doing all that you can do to go faster. And again, the faster you want to go, you have to develop that engine, but it's just it just gets so incrementally harder to go faster. The faster that you're going, it's all really good. And so now if we look at the race itself, here's his, the yellow is the power line. It was an out and back, but it was how they had it set up. It was 2 turns. But you can see his power trend line, man. So this is the thing that he's absolutely the master at, right? So, he is so good at doing negative splits, right? And he is an absolute master, right? Of starting slower, starting easier, but ending stronger, ending faster. And he is just brilliant at doing negative splits in these events. And, his times really show. And, he has a lot of practice in doing negative splits. For instance, his FTP test, is all negative splits. And I got let me show you. Yeah. So I got his last FTP test right here. So before he went to Florida, we knew we were going to do a couple races. We wanted to really make sure his zones were dialed in. So before he went down to Florida, we had a great test. And you can see right here, man, look at this. He negative splits so beautifully and is able to drop all of his bombs at the end. Again, this TT down in Florida, it was 8 miles, and it took him 18 minutes to do it. So essentially it was an FTP test. So he's, all the things that go into a TT is, it's the aero, but it's knowing where your zones are. It's really knowing your watts and what you can do. And so there was no question about what he could do on race day for this essentially 20-minute race, this 8 mile, because we tested him. He's not afraid to test. We test him through the base period. We test him. We do at least an FTP test every single month. And so he knows exactly where his watts are. And when it comes race day, he has lots of practice. Now, what's amazing about him also is that once you get into that TT position, through body impingement, through which, can really raise your cardiovascular system. He has no difference in terms of his FTP on his TT bike and in terms of his road bike. It's fascinating that they are exactly the same. Now, a lot of TT athletes that I work with, there's going to be, you can have a 10-watt difference between your road FTP, your road bike FTP, and your time trial bike TT. 15 watts. I've even seen when they're new to TT, like 30 watts. There's so much that goes into being able to develop and drop watt bombs at that position, in that TT position, right? It's not a road bike position. It's like a whole new, it's not entirely true, but it's almost like it's a whole new physiology that you're employing to go in that TT position. And one of his strengths is that he can drop the same watt bombs in the TT position uncomfortable that he can in the road bike position. And so that's amazing. But he's doing absolutely everything, right? My approach to coaching, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year proposition. He's doing strength training. He's doing blood work. He knows his biomarkers. And he wears the whoop. He knows his HRV. Like, he knows it all. Like, he just is on this very healthy process, this 24-hour, 7-day-a-week process that enables him to drop major watt bombs on event day. And what's also fascinating is that, he picked up the bike just like 3 years ago, brand new to bike. And in that time, he crashed, broke his collarbone, then had to have his shoulder replaced. And so, just in that 3-year period, he's had some major setbacks that he's come back from, that he's roared back from. So the athlete is, absolutely amazing. He deserves the success that he gets because he is all in. And he has some big goals coming up in June, and he is on track. He's already had a couple nice podiums, and we're only in February, but he's already rocking it out. Take care, everybody. If you have any questions, reach out. Would love to talk to you about your TT or any other aspect of nutrition or cycling. Thanks, everybody.